What's going on, guys? Mickle here, and today I want to get into a pretty crazy article implying that the SEC has actually been lying to the court in the Ripple SEC case. Guys, from the time I've been following this case, I never expected Ripple to be doing as good as they have been. They've really been absolutely destroying the SEC, and I think a settlement's right around the corner. In this video, I want to get into exactly what I'm seeing and how I think it's going to play out. I think there's some recent events that have been flying under the radar, and I think you guys definitely need to see them. So let's jump right into this video. So guys, before we get into the content, I just wanted to say that if you're new to this channel, make sure you like the video down below and subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out so much, and it will help this video get featured more in the YouTube algorithm, and that way more people can see this content. But thank you for all that you do, and let's jump right into it. So the first thing that I really wanted to show you guys is essentially that the judge is approving for Ripple to seal documents specifically pertaining to the SEC making determinations internally on whether XRP was a security or not. Well, this is massive because previously a former official at the SEC named Bill Hinman actually testified to the courts that he believed that the SEC had never given formal guidance on whether certain cryptocurrencies were securities or not. This is pretty massive because these articles that Ripple is choosing to seal right now and providing the evidence to the judge actually state that the SEC internally did have some cooperation in providing guidelines for additional multiple digital assets. This guidance was in the form of email chains with third-party exchanges, as well as own formal documents stating that they might have been unsure to the status of digital assets such as XRP. This is absolutely explosive to the case because if the judge sees this evidence right here and then also puts together that a former SEC official said that the SEC had never done anything cooperatively internally in the organization to make decisions on digital assets, it could blow up the case. This is because the SEC officials would essentially have been lying to the court and would ultimately prove that the SEC really did make an internal effort to try to provide clarity to this digital assets. Another reason this is so explosive is because the clarity they have provided to the market has suggested that a lot of these digital assets are not securities. And in the process of suing Ripple, they are accusing Ripple of selling a security, the security XRP. This makes it seem like the SEC has really gone back on a lot of what they've done in the early days and is really proving to the courts that the SEC's case is extremely unreliable and a lot of the facts aren't adding up. One of the massive problems for the SEC is their case is extremely baseless to start with. XRP fundamentally is not a security of Ripple. If Ripple disappeared today, XRP would still trade perfectly fine on the open markets. Therefore, the value of XRP is not determined by Ripple itself. The fact that the SEC not only brought a terrible case, but now is being forced to lie about past things they've done at the agency is really going to help the court see how poor this case actually was from the start, and really brings a lot of questions to what the merits of the case were themselves. One reason why I think this is extremely interesting, though, other than the fact that I think it's extremely good for Ripple, is that Ripple is actually choosing to essentially make these documents classified so other people or outside or the public cannot see them. A reason this is massive is because Ripple would obviously not care if the public saw these documents because they would only be bad for the SEC. So there must be something in it for them, or essentially the SEC is asking them to classify these documents, so therefore other cryptocurrency companies in the future couldn't look at these documents and go to the SEC and say, well, you said this about Ripple and XRP, so therefore you should have to make the same decision about me. What I'm trying to get at is Ripple and the SEC, while it looks like they're fighting on the outside, are clearly working together to make some of these decisions. This is extremely bullish because in my opinion, it's probably very likely that a lot of the finishing touches of the settlement are likely being drafted. I have a feeling that this was one of the last things that the Ripple had to do for the SEC in order for Ripple to get everything they wanted from the settlement. You have to understand that Ripple has been crushing the SEC to this point, so therefore it's very likely that they've been waiting to see the last couple documents, the SEC being the last couple documents they've had to reveal, and that would decide how much they would be forced to give into Ripple. In the end, they do not want to take this lawsuit the distance, end up losing it, and lose their power over the entire market. They'd rather settle, take their L from Ripple, and move on to the next one. So in my opinion, the fact that Ripple and the SEC are now working together to actually classify a lot of these documents, in my opinion, makes it very likely that a settlement is almost completed, and they're really just putting the finishing touches on what exactly is going to be in it. The next thing I really want to get into is going to really question why the SEC brought this case so poorly and why they have such little evidence for any of their points. Well, I think it's important to point out that in the government, there's really not a lot of clarity on what digital assets are. Right here, you have a former CFTC official who actually stepped down after the lawsuit was already in place, and he said, just so we're clear, all clear here, the SEC has no authority over pure commodities or their trading venues, whether those commodities are wheat, gold, oil, or crypto assets. This is something I really want to point out here because to this day, there really is no clarity in the markets. And I've pointed this out many times in that the SEC does not have the right to declare or create laws. They only have the right to enforce laws that have already existed. This is important because, in my opinion, the SEC never really brought this case thinking that they could possibly win. The case was extremely poorly drafted. It really had no merit. And on top of that, they have evidence within their organization that they knew they would have to disclose, such as these emails right here that they knew would blow up the case. So therefore, the whole purpose of this case was simply to bring clarity to the market by bringing it in front of the courts. Now that the case is in front of the courts, there has the ability to create legal precedent and therefore create laws through the judicial process. I want to read this tweet from you I put out, and if you guys think this might be accurate, I need you to go to my channel and retweet this. This will get this tweet more attention and help people realize what's really going on in this case. In this tweet, I write, the SEC lawsuit for Ripple's sole purpose was to give clarity to the market. Why? The SEC can't choose if an asset is a security or not. They can only enforce securities law already created. With that being said, the courts can make something a security, and so can Congress. Unfortunately, Congress is too busy doing nothing to focus on digital assets. So the only way to create law was through the courts. Why can't the SEC just give more Hinman speeches? Well, he only gave market guidance, not clarity. ETH technically could still be declared a security. The SEC does not have the power to declare things securities or not. This means that it needs to be written into laws through the courts. Why sue XRP and not ETH? Two main reasons. ETH has already been given guidance by the SEC, so the SEC would have looked like fools for giving a green light and then turning back, worse than they've already looked. And also would create a massive ERC20 problem that could blow up the market because a lot of these exchanges have hundreds of ERC20 tokens listed. 2. This case was meant for the SEC to lose. No evidence, suing the founders with no fraud. It was rushed, going against multiple past top officials at the SEC who knew there were documents at the very place they used to work that would sink the case. The SEC lawyers could fight this case as hard as they wanted, but the fundamental argument was wrong from the start. XRP is not a security of Ripple, it's a security of the XRP ledger. XRP does not depend on the health of Ripple, it depends on the health of the XRPL. Jay Clayton set up a lawsuit he knew he was going to lose and then left. This lawsuit was never meant to be won. It was meant to create clarity in the market. Security or no security, one thing is very clear. This is the Ripple test, and the outcome will define all of crypto. What I'm trying to say here is that just because the SEC brought a case against Ripple, it does not mean that they're saying XRP is a security. they're bringing up the possibility, and based on all the facts, it is extremely probable that XRP actually is not a security. All this is doing is bringing this in front of the courts and bringing legal clarity to the markets. This way, going forward, once this case is wrapped up, there will be no doubt legally the status of XRP, and institutions will be able to adopt it with confidence and not have to worry about what it might be declared later on. It will be written in law, declared in the courts, and therefore it won't be an issue. One thing I want to point out is that that doesn't mean there won't be a settlement. If the SEC is forced to settle, that settlement will still go through the courts. It will essentially just prevent this from being dragged on, and at this point is probably very likely inevitable what the judge will already rule, and the SEC and Ripple both know it. They can probably come to a better agreement than a judge who's not skilled in the crypto markets than the judge could herself. I have a feeling she's probably encouraging them to settle, and they probably already know what the outcome of the court case will be. They're probably just hammering out the fine details right now, and that's why Ripple's going out of its way to do favors for the SEC to kind of move this along and get it to the place it needs to be for both parties to agree. Guys, the last thing I want to call out to you is you need to go to my Twitter and click on this link right here. What this link right here will bring you to is John Deaton's website, and will allow you to write a letter to your senator and inform them about how you're personally affected by the XRP lawsuit. In this program he has, all you have to do is write a subject and the body of your message, and once you put in your zip code, it will automatically send the email to your senators. Guys, it's super easy, and even if you just give them a couple lines of text on what happened to you and why you think what's happening is unfair, this can really go a long way in bringing attention to what's happening. Although I think XRP will be fine and will be deemed not a security, it's important for us to prevent things like this from happening in the future. There's a lot of other tokens the SEC can go after, and this is just really a good way to help put them in their place. Although I'm not sure what will eventually come out of this, it never hurts to help, and honestly, it's really good to be able to put stuff out like this, and maybe someone in Congress will see it, and maybe it will just make them look into crypto in a more positive light if they see such a unified community behind it. Anyway, guys, I hope you found this video helpful. I think there's a lot of good days ahead of us. I think we're going to be looking at some very good news around this lawsuit in the coming weeks or months. Definitely keep hanging on, guys. We're almost there. XRP might end up being the only crypto with legal clarity, and I think that would be explosive for the price. Anyway, guys, thanks for coming by. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you're still here and you're not subscribed, you need to subscribe. You can't make it this far without subscribing. Thank you so much. You guys are the best. And for now, Mickle out.